I like Kai no Bouken a lot. I think it's a very clever example of the kind of puzzle platformer that we don't really see a whole lot of. However, it is really easy to bounce off of this one. You could play it for a couple of minutes, think, boy, this feels awkward to move around, and the jumping is strange, then just turn it off and never think about it again. Still, there's more to it than you might see at first glance. Kai no Bouken, or The Quest of Kai, is the sequel to Tower of Druaga. Or rather, it's the prequel. The actual sequel was The Return of Ishtar. That was an arcade game which didn't receive any home ports. The Return of Ishtar is a pretty bad game, so for the Famicom, Namco made a brand new prequel. Although it was developed by Game Studio, the game developer with the least Googleable name ever, that was the company that Masanobu Endo left Namco to form. So Kai no Bouken has the exact same designer as Tower of Druaga. In this game, Princess Kai is traveling up the 60-floor Tower of Druaga in a quest to recover the Blue Crystal Rod, an artifact of the goddess Ishtar. There's one more special thing about the release of Kai no Bouken. It is the very last 3,900 yen Famicom game. Namco had been the lone holdout on the cheaper game prices, but even they had been increasing to that roughly 6,000 yen mark in the past few months. Your goal on every stage is to acquire the key and then get to the exit. Easy peasy, right? Well, naturally there's obstacles in the way. They come in only two forms: monsters and spikes. And every monster has its own distinctive pattern that you'll have to learn in order to avoid them. Kai tends to move very slowly, though she can run if you press the B button. Her greatest strength is that she can levitate. Press and hold down A and Kai rises into the air. She keeps going up as long as you hold down A, and then when you let go, she gently drifts back to the ground. But once she starts going down, she can't go back up again until she lands. If you go too high while levitating, Kai will hit her head and drop straight down. And she'll be stunned on the ground for a few seconds before she can move again. The same thing happens if you're running and hit a wall. Kai tends to move slowly with a lot of inertia. She takes a while to get going, takes a while to stop, and you have a whole lot of control over her in the air. You can pick up a lot of speed by running, but you'll find precision while moving that fast to be difficult. And that's really the key to Kai no Bouken. This is a puzzle platformer where the entire point is mastering the challenging moveset of the character. Yeah, Kai handles like a fully loaded oil tanker, but it never feels off. The controls are responsive. It can just take a few moments for Kai to stop doing what she was doing. The result of that isn't sloppy, it's an enormous amount of precision over her movement. And that's what the more difficult levels in Kai no Bouken require. Absolutely precise movement and timing. If you're not trying to rush, then Kai moves at a pace where you can put her exactly where you need her. Of course, the game is always pushing you to rush. Even the bonk your head and fall down maneuver is important, because on some stages, it's how you avoid getting shot. None of this ever becomes frustrating because the game mitigates its difficulty in several ways. First of all, you have unlimited continues. You can even hit reset and just go back to the main menu and still continue from right where you left off. Second, any enemy that kills you vanishes. Is it really tough to get past that one guy? Well, on your next life, he won't be there. If you continue, on the other hand, the whole level is there when you restart. Finally, Kai no Bouken has a lot of warps. You can run over a treasure chest to collect its contents, and if you get one of these symbols, you're warped to another level. Using those warps, I completed the game in about 15 minutes, going from level 1 to level 60. That's where you find the Blue Crystal Rod. Then Druaga appears to turn you to stone, just in time for Tower of Druaga. However, after the credits roll, that's when the real game begins. You see, there aren't 60 stages in Kai no Bouken. There's 100. And the first 60 are essentially training for the final 40. And while those warps will take you forward for the first 60 stages, from stages 61 on, they warp you to stage 61. though you can hit reset as long as you do it before the warp kicks in. There's a few more items Kai can collect that will help complete the stage. Most of these are taken from Tower of Druaga. The lamp, for example, makes ghosts appear. And there's a few other items that neutralize one specific enemy. Collecting the Thunderbolt stops enemies from shooting magic. And then there's the most important item, the wings. With those, Kai no longer has to touch the ground before taking off again. So you can bound around in mid-air, avoiding obstacles. Kai no Bouken is a very simple game. Even the graphics and sound are minimalistic. I hope you like that background that causes dot crawl even on my 14-inch Trinitron. Not to mention those same gray pillars and that same one tune. This is a game that takes some very basic elements and then just keeps recombining them in different ways. And because each level is so nicely crafted, forming a bite-sized challenge, I think it works for Kai no Bouken. It's almost like Kai no Bouken was a very early example of the precision platformer. I enjoy it a lot, but I can definitely understand why a lot of people bounce off of it like Kai running headlong into a wall.